Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Today, I am so excited to welcome to the show Lauren Cohen. Serial entrepreneur Lauren is an international lawyer, realtor, and foreign investor expert. Originally from Toronto and now in South Florida, Lauren is also a best-selling author and sought-after speaker, and she launched her podcast, Investing Across Borders, in late 2020. Lauren and her turnkey team believe in overcoming obstacles and navigating global expansion for business owners and real estate investors while providing access to unique passive income solutions. Lauren's overriding goal is to help clients navigate the path to invest, live, work, and play across borders. Yay! Lauren's superpower rests in paving a path to immigration visas through real estate investments. Ladies, I'm sure you can tell why I want her on the show. Isn't this fascinating? Hi there, Lauren. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Moneeka. It's a pleasure to be here. It's taken us, I think it was around August. So it's taken us from August to now to get the show recorded, and I'm excited to be here, and thank you for making the time for me.
Yes, of course. My pleasure. Absolutely. And ladies, I just want to let you know, so Lauren was booked for this show. We booked, I think, earlier this year, finally. Since then, several of you ladies have heard her on other shows. So, and gave me really, really good reviews. So I'm going into this interview with yay, we've got somebody amazing on the show. So I'm super excited about that. And then I just also want to tell you ladies one other thing about Lauren. So you guys know I'm all about systems, right? Systems equals bliss. So I had all this system set up for my intake and scheduling and all of this stuff. Lauren and I did it a little backwards, but I still had a whole autoresponder set up so that she knew where to put in her questions and her bio and her headshot and all of those things, right? We got the system. So I went online yesterday to put together sort of the whole, I want to be able to, that I can introduce her. I put together a little script, right? And I noticed that nothing was in the intake form. It was literally like 9 o'clock at night here, California time, or 8 o'clock. So it was really late, Lauren's time.
It was late.
It was late. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning now, California time. So this was the first show that I'm doing this week. I don't start work till 10. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we have nothing. And there was a lot, you know? So I emailed her and I sent her something on LinkedIn. She happened to be online. Lauren did this thing. So anybody else that I would have talked to would have been like, oh, can we reschedule? And I'm literally scheduling 4 months out, right? You ladies know that I pre-record. Lauren's like, okay, she got it all to me in 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
It's the problem I have. It is. I'm over responsive. It's a problem. I think I need to go to the 12-step program for responsiveness.
Yeah. So, but the thing that I just want to point out, one of the reasons that I'm so excited to tell you ladies this story, I know that it's not totally sounding relevant, but the way that we do anything is the way that we do everything, right? For me, my focus is on bliss and pleasure and joy and relaxation, right? And as a lawyer, it's really important that you're responsive. How many of us are freaked out about something, right? And the things that we're dealing with lawyers for are usually like we don't know anything about. So you want somebody who's responsive and kind and generous, right? And so, and Lauren is all of those things and proved it once again last night. So just thank you for making my process more blissful, even though tech failed us.
I gotta say, when I received it, I'm like, oh my God, how did that possibly happen? That just can't happen. And I was like, it's Moneeka. There's no way I'm gonna miss this because I know how long it took us to get here. Right. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this done really quick. And I'm actually studying now for the mortgage exam, believe it or not, because I don't have enough licenses. So I decided I need something else. Yeah. But the reason is because I have so many clients in need of mortgage opportunities. And so we're in the middle of studying. I get this. I'm like, oh my God, I have to go and deal with this right now. And my boyfriend's like, what's going on? Just let me be. My son is like, mommy. I'm like, I'm going. So I got it done. Thank you. And look, if if there's one thing that I do pride myself on, it's exactly that. Like it's not that I don't get into panic mode, because I was in a little bit of panic mode, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like somebody's sick, but I get it done. And that's what 2021 is all about. I just joined a mastermind called Get It Done in 21. And the truth is, it's really about that, because in 2020, we had so many challenges and obstacles and interferences like in our lives, and like what is going on. And not that there's not uncertainty now, but if you have to really focus on what you're grateful for every day. Come out of each day thinking, how can I impact people in a better way?
Yeah. And I think one of the things that 2020 really taught us is to be able to really roll with the flow. It taught us about flexibility and about resilience and about caring about the things that are really important to us and focusing on those things, right? Because there's so little we felt we had control over. Those are the things we actually do have control over. How are we responding? Who are we caring about? How are we showing up, right?
Showing up. I was thinking the same words as you're saying them. It's true. Because how you show up, as you said, for one thing is how you show up for everything.
That's right. And so I just honor you for your kindness to me.
Thank you for acknowledging that. It's funny, I just, I was coming on the call, I just had spoken with a gentleman right before from Canada. He said to me, I am so impressed with you. You're this and this and this, and we Canadians love you. And I said, well, you know, I am Canadian. He goes, oh, I love you even more now.
Exactly. I love that. Well, cool. So Lauren, could you tell us kind of high level 2-minute version of your story? Like, let everybody get to know you a little bit, where you came from.
Okay. So my story is kind of a little unique. And I don't share it all the time, but I've started sharing it more because, you know, your story is what dictates or drives you. So I am originally from Canada. I moved here a long time ago, 20 years ago. I have not been home in 14 months, but I'm not bitter, a little bit bitter. Okay. So I haven't seen my mom or my brother or my nephews and niece or my sister-in-law or anybody in 14 months. Like a lot of people, I'm just, you know, I came here without dream. I was married at the time, and, you know, I moved back to Canada and I came here again. So it's been an interesting ride. In 2006, I got married, and my then husband was deported on the way back from our honeymoon. So we went to Thailand on our honeymoon, and I did not realize that I wasn't in the immigration space to the extent I am now, that's for sure. So I didn't realize that he was what's called inadmissible. I didn't realize that these things he had in his background, in his history, would stop him from being admissible. And I was in the process of getting my green card. So I never really, I mean, I had a lawyer who now is my partner, and I had a lawyer that was doing everything, and I just never contemplated this problem. He was in the process of getting his own visa. We get married, we go on our honeymoon, should not have left the country, or maybe we should have, because everything happens for a reason, right? Came back, they took him from me at Chicago O'Hare Airport, and it was actually February 2nd. So it's tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the anniversary, because it's my dad's birthday. And so anyway, so they expeditiously removed him, they put him in immigration jail, and then they deported him. And here I am with all this stuff from a honeymoon in Thailand, okay? And I'm like, what am I gonna do now? So it goes to show you that you have to turn adversity into prosperity, and you have to find the silver lining, which is the name of my nonprofit actually, and the name of my book, Finding Your Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process, because there's always a silver lining. And for me, the silver lining of that was, it was never meant to be, that marriage. And it pushed me into the immigration space. And I knew that I had a calling to do something greater for people from all over the world, migrating both to the US and Canada, because I'm licensed in both countries. Like I said, you know, I just need more licenses. It's like a thing. So,
you're an education junkie. I can relate to that, just letting you know.
Yeah. I don't like going to school, but I like learning. I like reading, I like learning, and I like getting licenses. And also I think that having a mortgage license and being a realtor are very complementary. So anyway, that's what happened. He was barred from entry to the US, and I said, okay, I guess I have to find a different path. And that's what started me on my journey. So basically now, my true number one goal is to really help people to invest live, work, and play across borders so that they can be anywhere in the world. This all started with an idea in Israel that I had, that people should not be stuck to where they live, but should be able to be completely mobile. My home is in Florida, my heart is in Israel, but my family is in Canada. And I usually can go anywhere and do business. And that's what I created for myself and what I wanted to create for others, and give them the path to come and immigrate to the US, especially through real estate investing, because so many people want to invest in real estate in the US. And here's a whole other benefit of doing that.
Wow, that's quite a story. So, so when you help people with real estate stuff, you help them whether they're American citizens looking to invest internationally, or if they're international citizens from somewhere else wanting to invest in the United States. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay. And then the other thing that you help people is if they're international, they're somewhere else and they want to come to the United States,
Correct.
They can do that through investing, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that piece, the becoming, helping it to get you citizenship, et cetera, or to immigrate, whatever that looks like?
So it's actually extraordinarily complex, and I'll tell you why. Real estate investing, as a rule, is passive.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate investing to immigrate has to be active, because in order to qualify for a visa, you need to be actively involved in running a business. And the terminology is you have to make a substantial investment in a non-marginal business. So I have created the 10 steps to immigrate through real estate, and it's a step-by-step guide, which we actually could talk about in extra now that I think about it.
Okay.
And it's literally a step-by-step guide to take people from, I want to invest in real estate in the US. How do I do it? The first 8 steps are for anybody that's investing, and the last 2 are for people that want to immigrate through that path. So I've been working with real estate investors for well over a decade, and working with them to get them visas, but only recently connected, literally over COVID, Moneeka, collected all of these dots together to say, okay, there is a path. It's not going to be your single family home or a couple of units in a couple of condos, or flipping. That's not going to work. But if you add flipping to, let's say, the BRRRR method, holding properties, Airbnb, commercial, self-storage, mobile homes, you create a strategy that can potentially pave the path to immigrate.
Got it. Ooh, fascinating. That sounds like a much deeper topic. And I have a lot of international listeners, but I don't have a lot of people that talk about that stuff. So I wonder if maybe we consider doing another show specifically about that for my international listeners. I'm in like 45 different countries right now. I just want to tell you a really cute story. Ladies, you haven't heard this. And Lauren, I hope you don't mind that I tell this, but this is really funny. I went on a cruise to speak. I was actually talking about Choose Bliss on a cruise. And we went to the Greek islands, but we stopped in Spain. So the very first stop was in Barcelona. My husband and I are sitting at a cafe, and we're talking and laughing, whatever. And all of a sudden I hear my voice walk by, and I looks over, David and I both look over, and some guys walking around with their iPhone listening to my podcast. I was like,
God.
oh my God. Then we get off the cruise at, I think it was Mykonos or something. And we're sitting in a little cafe having some lunch, and someone's walking by with an iPhone, I don't know, whatever, a phone. They look, and then they kind of
There are other phones.
There are other phones. And I don't actually have an iPhone. I have an Android. So I can't believe I'm saying that. That's really funny. Anyway, so they're looking at the phone. They kind of look up and they look over towards me kind of in passing. And all of a sudden their eyes get really wide. They look down at their phone. They look up at me. They look down at their phone. They look up at me and went, oh, and they're like, come on. They're like, are you Moneeka Sawyer in Greece? I was like, oh my God.
That's hysterical.
It was so much fun. So twice in that one trip. We haven't done a trip since then because of COVID. Right. But it's so exciting to see the impact that I'm making internationally. And so there is an audience on this show for you, Lauren. So maybe we talk about that another time. Today,
that's actually what my webinar series is. You definitely, Moneeka, should come to my webinar. It's the next one is February 10th, and it's how to immigrate through real estate. And we basically walk through the whole process, and I'd love to have you there. But the thing is, not everybody wants to immigrate. Who can
No.
blame them right now, right? There's a lot of upheaval in this country. COVID has not really been managed so well, but that doesn't mean that they don't want to invest.
Well, and we've had other people, Francois Brand-Bonner came on also. I think you know him.
No.
He also came on talking about how to get people into turnkey properties here so that they can take advantage of the American real estate market, even if they don't want to live here. So
Right.
there's all different levels of people that want to immigrate, people that don't, people that just really want something hands off, people that want a good write-off reason to come to the United States, right? There's all different kinds of reasons that international people would want to invest here. I think today what I would really like to focus on, so I want to do another show on that for sure. But then the other thing that I want to focus on today is really about us Americans, because this is a question that I haven't covered at all. I've covered it once because I invested in Belize myself. And so that show aired about sort of my process on that. But we haven't really had anybody talk about Americans investing internationally. So let's focus on that today, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about some of the top tips for investing across borders.
The top tips are going to be the same, no matter if you're coming into America or leaving or going out of America. Because at the end of the day, you need proper cross-border tax guidance. I don't care who you are, where you live, how small your portfolio is, how little you have to invest. You need somebody to guide you on cross-border tax. If you do not have an expert that understands both countries and that has some knowledge or understanding, is there a tax treaty with the US? Is there not? How is your investment going to get treated in the US? Because at the end of the day, for US taxpayers, we have to be cognizant and concerned about how our investments overseas. Let's talk about Canada. It's the easiest one. Lots of American investors have invested in Canada or do invest in Canada or now want to invest in Canada because suddenly it's become that much more appealing, okay? Maybe not Toronto because Toronto is a completely out of control market, but other places like my business partner is in Calgary. We have lots of investors that are investing there because the properties are upside down, many of them. So there's an opportunity to go in and find what's the equivalent of subject twos in Canada, let's say, or opportunities to wholesale properties or whatever. But if you don't get that cross-border guidance and you end up making, let's say, 100,000, do you want to give 50 or 70% of that to the IRS or whoever the revenue agency is, the tax authority? I don't think so. I have a client, he's been talking to me, he's not a client, I take that back, a prospect. He's been talking to me since we started talking around August. He came to a summit that I did with my Calgary partner called Empowered Women in Real Estate. You definitely need to speak at that. And he came to this event, we do allow men because it's obviously a he. So he came to this and he called me, he set up a call with me after, and he said, I paid $100,000 to the Canada Revenue Agency. And I said, why? How did that happen? Because I didn't talk to a lawyer first. So my number one thing that I'm going to tell anybody that's listening is, don't be afraid to talk to the lawyer and the accountant, because fear is going to end up costing you so much more than you would pay to get the proper guidance in place. I'm working now with it so happens, one of your members that I met through another podcast who's investing in Spain. I have a client who's actually developing property in Honduras. I have clients that are investing in the UK, in Canada, obviously. I mean, that's an easy one for me. In Italy, and my real estate license is with a company that is in currently 10 countries and soon to be over 20. So it's really an international exposure, an international approach, and not everybody can even contemplate what that looks like. And that's super important. So when you are looking at investing across borders, use and abuse your professional team. Don't try to do it and just kind of haphazardly say, okay, I'm going to buy a property in the Dominican or something. No. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. And I think, there's a really, really good point here that you made, and I just want to emphasize it. Don't trip over dimes to save, and don't trip over dollars to save dimes, right? Like you want to make sure that you are paying a little bit up front to save you a lot on the back end, right? it feels sometimes like, oh my gosh, there's all this upfront stuff. But if you buy something and sell something and you save yourself $100,000 in taxes, or 50% in taxes, so you only pay 20% or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are like, but I know that those deltas can be significant, and you want to make sure that you minimize those taxes and all of that stuff as much as you possibly can. And the only person that's going to know how to help you is going to be a pro like Lauren, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So is it easier to invest into the US or consider investing outside of the US?
It really depends on what your goals are.
Okay.
The US is not, like, investing in US real estate is not a super heavily regulated industry.
Mm-hmm.
There are rules, there are opportunities, there are different, and then each state has different approach, different opportunities, different market. But I think for most, the US market is the biggest opportunity and presents the most volume, the most potential listings, potential properties, and potential upside. So I
Mm-hmm.
think coming into the US is easier than going outside of the US.
Got it. So we invested in Belize because we're sort of prepping for retirement, right? So what are some really good reasons to invest outside of the US if you're an American citizen?
Well, there could be tax advantages for sure.
Okay.
Definitely. It can be a tax haven. It can be an opportunity to move your money outside of the US legally and be able to have that nest egg built in a foreign country. Also, you just never know what's going to happen here, as we have seen in the past year or so. So that gives you an opportunity to have somewhere else to go. At the end of the day, I think that it's all about a strategy, and a lot of people forget that important part. And if you don't have a strategy, whether you're investing into the US or outside of the US, you're going to fail, just like with everything we do. If you don't have systems, you're going to fail. If you don't have a strategy, you're going to fail. You have to create a strategy and then work with a professional team to implement that strategy.
Great. So talk to me about building that strategy. What are some of the first steps to building that international strategy?
So we're going to first look at what you're currently doing in real estate, see where you want to invest, how you want to invest. Do you want to have joint venture partners? Are you using your own money? Are you using other people's money? What kind of corporate structure do you currently have in the US? Do you have contacts and connections in that subject country, that new country? How does that all look? How is your professional team going to stack up? What types of properties do you want? What are your goals with those properties? Do you want a property that you can go to part of the time and Airbnb the rest of the time? How does that look? Bringing in those tax advisors, figuring out how you're doing asset protection as well, looking at asset protection solutions and opportunities, because you have to protect your assets as you're expanding your business, no matter if it's in real estate or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just some of the steps that we would go through in analyzing kind of how to make this all happen and execute on it.
Got it. Okay, good. What is the number one risk in sort of not setting up that structure before you start?
It's kind of twofold. The first is that you could be shut down legally. You could be precluded from visiting your properties or visiting your investments because you didn't put the right structure in place, and you could be stopped at the border, whichever border that might be, because you didn't do that. And the other thing is this huge potential tax consequence of not setting up your structure properly from the get-go, which could shut you down anyway just because of numbers.
So in Extra, we're going to talk about 1031 exchanges and sort of doing that over borders. So I'm really excited about that. Could you tell us a little bit about what we're going to talk about?
So 1031 is available. I'm assuming that your audience knows what a 1031 is, correct?
Yes, they've heard about it many times.
So I don't have to explain what a 1031 is.
Right.
1031 is awesome because it allows investors, property owners, to transfer property, no matter where they're from. But what we forget is, this is especially true for Canadians, they will be disregarded. The exchange will be disregarded for tax purposes, oftentimes when they go back to their home country. So they may be legally allowed to do it here in the US, but no matter where they're from, but there could be the impact could be very negative when they go back to their home country if they take the money out of the US.
Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit more about sort of the intricacies around that. So I'm really excited about that in Extra because we've just never talked about this stuff. So that's going to be amazing. Before we move into our 3 rapid fire questions, could you tell everybody how they can reach you?
Absolutely. So I am easy to reach. Please find me on LinkedIn, but I will tell you that you need to find me with my Canadian presence because that's super important. There's a little confusion about that. So I'll put the links in here. I think you have them. I think I sent you all my social media links. So on Facebook, it's Lauren ESQ. Everything is Lauren ESQ. As a matter of fact, I'm launching my podcast website. It's laurenesq.com. So that's my brand. I've been using that email address forever and a day. And that's the best way to find me on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Lauren_Cohen_ESQ. So just add my last name in there. On Twitter, it's eCouncil Inc., which is the name of my company, ECOUNCILINC. I'm on Clubhouse. You can find me, that new crazy thing. I hear that Elon Musk shut the platform down last night because you're only allowed 5,000 people, and he had 5,000 people in the first room he set up. So I don't know. I can understand that. I would be interested too, but I guess I was asleep. And where else can you find? Oh, you can always email me directly. And I also, on top of the free gift, I also am offering a free consult to anybody that would like to talk about U.S. investing, cross-border investing, expanding out of the U.S. and bringing your business into the U.S. And it's a bit.ly/LAC Explore. So like Moneeka makes easy URLs, it's /LAC, that's my initials, LAC Explore. And I'd be happy to set up a call. Please just reference that you met me here. There is a link at the bottom to say, where did we meet? And I'll be happy to set up that time with you.
Perfect. And you do have a free gift for the ladies.
I do.
So tell us a little bit about that. And I've got the link for this one is blissfulinvestor.com/Lauren ESQ. So
there you go.
When
you said that, I was like, okay, Lauren ESQ works for me.
And that's actually,
sure.
I love that because ladies, I know you know that most of our links to reach our guests start with the blissfulinvestor.com. So
perfect. You're very good at the branding. It's excellent. I'm taking a few lessons from you. I already adopted one of your lessons on signing up for the podcast, so I hope it's okay.
Yay, of course. I love that. But tell us about your free gift.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to have to renew this free gift because so many people have downloaded it. It's very popular. It's called 8 Steps to Successful Real Estate Investing Across Borders. And it's a guide that will help you, and it's free for all of your listeners. It's a $47 value, and it's really going to help you to think about the different elements that we've talked about here and a little bit more.
Perfect.
Well.
Yeah. And so when you go on there, again, it's blissfulinvestor.com/Lauren ESQ. And then you'll see that it's $47. So you get a special code just for my lady. So you get it for free. And it is REI, the number 4, and then free. So REI for free, so that you can get the ebook for free. So that's great. And again, that's the number 4. And this code will be in the notes, ladies. So don't worry too much about it. You can look it up. So, well, that's great. Thank you so much for that. I know there are going to be a lot of people really interested in that. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. It's a pleasure really to serve you guys. I love working with real estate investors. It took me a while to find my calling. And one thing I'll tell any of you that haven't figured out all of it out yet is don't worry, you'll figure it out. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So are you ready for our 3 rapid fire questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Lauren, tell us a super tip on getting started investing in real estate.
Get a coach. That's a super tip.
Okay, perfect.
Don't do it alone. Whatever you do, work with a coach or somebody that's done that or somebody that can guide you, because at the end of the day, you don't want to just kind of invest haphazardly, and you need a strategy.
Okay, I love that. And then what is one strategy on being successful investing in real estate?
Staying focused and staying in your lane, okay? My 4 favorite words are stay in your lane. And don't try to play realtor. Don't try to play lawyer. Don't try to play accountant. Get the people that on your team that can do those things, because that's how you're going to make money in real estate. They're going to guide you. They're going to help you do your due diligence, analyze the prospective investments, deal analysis, for example, all of that.
Okay, perfect. I love that. And then what is one daily practice, Lauren, that you would say contributes to your personal success?
I work out. I listen, I have the COVID-20, there's no question, but I cannot survive without some type of workout every single day, whether it's a power walk or a workout on watching kickboxing or working out on my ski machine upstairs or something. You've got to get your endorphins going because we are all stuck at home and it's a lot. It's like, I'm lucky I'm in Florida. We're not all that lucky, but yeah.
I love that. Okay, perfect. So this has been amazing, Lauren. Thank you so much for everything you've
Thank you.
shared.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. And ladies, of course, we've got more coming in extra. We're going to be talking about 1031 exchanges across borders. So stay tuned for that if you're already subscribed. And if you're not subscribed but would like to be, go to realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. That's realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. And you get the first 7 days for free. So you can check this out and, as much as you like for the first 7 days. And then you can decide one way or the other if you love it or not. Anyways, for those of you who are leaving us now, thank you so much for joining Lauren and I for this portion of the show. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll see you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.